Welcome to Homebrew Highlights, a little show where I talk about homemade content for Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Nathan. For the last 25 years online, I've gone by the name of the Amethyst Dragon. For more than 3 decades now, I have been a player and dungeon master. So I've made a lot of homebrew in my time. When I made the switch to 5th edition, the pace of that has just picked up. In fact, I make so much now that I can't even use it in my 2 weekly home campaigns. So I put it online for other people to use in their games. In this show, I will be focusing on things that make or use light. This is actually my second episode doing this. I did another one a couple of weeks ago. So I go and I look out for other people's content that uses lights, and then I feature some of my own. Talk about the inspiration behind the inspiration that got me to make something, or my thoughts behind it. For other people's content, I try to give my opinion on it, how I would use it in my game, what I might change if I were to change anything. I don't get so much into the numbers or the balance, but more the ideas behind things. Anything that I feature or talk about, I will have direct links to down in the description. If you like this sort of content, don't forget to like the video, maybe subscribe to my channel, click on the little notification bell to get notified when I post something new. I generally try to post once a week with hopefully interesting content. So we're just going to jump right into it. I'm going to actually start out with Homebrew by somebody else. Online I found a interesting cantrip by someone named DrYoshiyahu. This is on Reddit, and the cantrip is called Shooting Stars. It's a ranged cantrip. You throw out these motes of light. They do a little bit of radiant damage when they hit. And the cool thing is they actually stick and continue to glow on the target for a few seconds. So for one turn, that target doesn't get any of the benefits of invisibility. Whether it turned invisible or it already is invisible, you can target it because it's got these little glowing markers on it. I like it. It's different than the bright, godly power of Sacred Flame coming down. It's just a little more low-key, but I think it's got a good visual, and I would definitely use this on pretty much any character that likes to use light or radiant spells. Again, that is the Shooting Stars cantrip by DrYoshiyahu. Thanks for making that and allowing me to include it in my video. Now I'm going to try describe a little monster, totally dangerous, really deadly. Well, not at all, actually. This is the glow toad, a little creature I came up with. It's a toad that grows between 4 and 6 inches long, so pretty sizable. But these are creatures that live out in grassland and prairies, and they are actually this pale pastel color. Kind of obnoxious in a green grass, but they don't have too much to fear because they probably taste bad. And then they've actually got little spots on them too. So they're kind of a cute little toad. But at nighttime, these toads glow with dim light to attract insects to them. So instead of going out and searching for their food comes right to them. They also glow when they're happy, or like fireflies when they're searching for a mate. They might be looking for one that has the same exact shade of pink or green or blue or yellow or whatever. They come in a variety of colors. They do pose a little bit of danger because if you were to scare one really badly or hurt it, it flares with brilliant blazing radiance for just a moment. This actually causes a little bit of radiant damage if you're too close to it. And it can blind you for up to 6 seconds, so it has a chance to get away. Although it wouldn't be able to go far because it's just a toad. But that is a glow toad. I thought it'd be something a little more atmospheric for people to look at. Like the fireflies are around. They're cool to look at. Good for setting the stage of wilderness travel. So now you have fireflies and you have glow toads. If you have a generous DM, you might be able to get one of these as a familiar. Probably wouldn't be able to do the radiant damage if they're hurt, but they could still be cool and pastel and glowing. That's the glow toad. I thought they'd be fun. Now, if we lean towards items, I came up with an alchemical item. So rather than magic, it's alchemy, something for those alchemists to make. I call it Luminous Ink. And this is very incredibly black, unnaturally black ink. When you write with it, it almost seems to absorb light, which is actually what it's doing. It absorbs light constantly. It's super, super dark. If you have it in bright sunlight, or if you expose it to actual radiant damage, it immediately starts to glow. It turns white and it gives off light. In sunlight, it takes an hour, but radiant damage is instant. And so you have writing that might be pure black on the paper. Out in the sun, you bring it in, and it glows for hours as a dim light source. And I have it so that you can use this ink for writing or for tattoos, because I think it would be pretty cool if you had this black, super dark tattoo, and then, you sit out and you tan for an hour or so, and then you go explore a dungeon, and you have a handy light source that you can hide under a sleeve. Or, it could be, hey, I really need a light source, somebody hit me with that sacred flame, and charge it up. But yeah, it glows white for hours, and that is Luminous Ink. Light absorbing and light releasing ink. And again, that's an alchemical item instead of magic. As far as magic items go, I have one called a Bugbane Lamp. This is like your genie lamp or other small oil lamp. It actually does take oil in it to function, but once you light it, it'll create this green flame, and it casts dim light in like a 45-foot radius. So it doesn't light up a whole lot, but this light affects bugs of all sorts. Crustaceans, insects, all sorts of arthropods. Basically, if you can consider it a bug of 3 inches or less, it's affected by this light. And so what happens is natural bugs, they will try to avoid this light. When they're caught in it, they will try to leave the light. If they can't, they're forced to just sit still and harmless. So this is really, really good against like biting flies and mosquitoes and ticks and spiders. Pretty much anything that's going to cause a nuisance, the Bugbane Lamp makes it not a nuisance. When you deal with magical insects like an insect plague spell or something like that, or summoning swarms of insects, it doesn't stop them from moving, but it does give you advantage on any saving throw you make to take less damage from them, or to be unaffected by them. So they are affected a little bit, but not completely. So that's the Bugbane Lamp, a different light source. And then I have another light source. A lot of these are going to be light sources now. I call this the Light of Hope. This is a magical lantern that, once again, you have to put oil into, but then it burns for 6 hours, and it produces this bright golden flame that just fills a space with warm, comforting light. And every creature within the area of bright light that it casts, at the start of their turn, if they're there, they gain temporary hit points. You don't get to select just your allies. Your enemies also get these, but every creature gets these temporary hit points. And then, if you regain hit points in a way that doesn't stem from magic, so like a fighter's second wind, or somebody using a healer's kit with the healer's feet medic. I can't remember what it's called right offhand. It's the one where you can use a healer's kit to actually heal hit points as an action. Or if you take a short rest in this light and you use hit dice to heal. In any of those cases, when you're not using magic, you get the maximum hit points back. Instead of rolling your hit dice, you just get the maximum. Instead of rolling for the second wind, you just get the maximum. That sort of thing. It's It's not direct healing, but it helps. Yeah, just a light of hope makes you feel better. Nice golden light. And then for burning things, I came up with something called the Trusty Torch of Tossing. It is a magic torch that you can't actually light on fire. It is immune to fire. Won't light, but if you're holding it, you can cast Produce Flame using the torch, and instead of the flame appearing in your hand, it appears at the top of the torch. And then because it is Produce Flame, you can still throw the fire. You just give it a flick, it goes flying towards your target, and then you can do it again the next turn. It's almost like you know this cantrip, so it does improve as you gain levels. It's based off your wisdom, so even a wizard using it has to use their wisdom. But yeah, you can fling the fire, you can use it as a torch, and it's never going to burn up because the torch itself is immune to regular fire. That is the Trusty Torch of Tossing. Well, I got another light source here that has to do with health. I call this Gilnorn's Light of Vitality. This one actually started out as a drawing that I made. Pencil on paper. I just needed to pass some time and started drawing this thing and decided to turn it into a magic item. So it's this oversized lantern that's actually like a sealed container of some sort, and there's this glowing blue light within. The container is really hot to the touch. It does not enough to cause damage, but you don't want to hold on to it. So this smith that found it, his name is Gilnorn, he attached a handle to it so he could carry it around without burning himself. And the light is really bright. It goes out bright light for 50 feet, dim light another 50 feet past that. And the cool thing is this, one of the cool things is this light warms you up. And if you stay in it, you can survive. You're comfortable in even like freezing winter temperatures. The light of this lamp keeps you warm, or this lantern light thing. And one even cooler thing is if you take your long rest in the light of this thing, you can finish it in about half the time. A human can finish their long rest in 4 hours instead of 8. So I call it Gilnorn's Light of Vitality. You feel alert, you feel warm, you feel active. Unfortunately, this source of light is mystically radioactive. So if you spend too long near it, even if it's covered and you can't see it, it starts to lower your maximum hit points. You lose, I believe, 2 after the first 4 hours. And it just slowly drains your maximum hit points. And it's not obvious that the lantern is the source of this, because it could happen if it's on the other side of a wall. It happens in the radius, whether you can see the light or not. Basically, the only thing that can stop it is magical force, like a wall of force, or a hemisphere from the wall of force spell. It's the only thing that can actually stop this. As a DM, I would not let the identify spell actually like tell this effect. I would have it work on the container. That is just, hey, this is a magical container that contains something, and have them do some more research or something to try to figure out what the problem is. And it's whatever this light source is within this lantern. Now, I would allow them an intelligence check, perhaps an arcana check, to figure out that, hey, it's this that's causing our health to go down. But it's not something that would be immediately obvious. Now, if the lantern is actually unsealed or broken or opened in some way, that's totally up to whatever DM is using it to decide what happens. The light could just vanish. It could be gone. It could stop working completely. There could be a giant magical explosion. Maybe the radiation becomes much, much stronger and drains health even faster. But, lets you finish a long rest in an hour. That would be a hefty price to pay, though, if you're losing maximum hit points. Eventually, you can start getting those maximum hit points back. maybe a greater restoration or just time away from it. That's up to the DM. Another problem that comes with Gilnorn's Light of Vitality. A humanoid creature, large size or smaller, that dies within 100 feet of the lantern immediately rises as an undead creature. And for this, I came up with a brand new type of zombie. I call it the Witherlight Zombie. These are gray-skinned zombies, but they've got this blue light, the same color as Gilnorn's Light of Vitality. This blue light glowing in their eyes and up out of their throat, and it's like seeping out of their fingertips. If you were to cut them open, destroy them and cut them open, for a moment there would be a blue glow in the center of their chest, but that fades as soon as they die. So when these things reanimate, which is almost instantly, the first thing they do is attack the nearest living creature that is not another Witherlight Zombie. They are attracted to light, so they will focus on attacking things that use radiant damage. Like if a paladin uses their smite, they're all going to look over there and take off after that paladin. Then that paladin's got a little something to worry about, because the Witherlight Zombie doesn't take radiant damage. They're immune to it. In fact, what they would have taken in radiant damage, they heal that much. So a paladin's best weapon against undead, their smites, their radiant damage, is really bad with these. And even worse, if there's a dead creature within 50 or 100 feet, I can't remember, of a Witherlight Zombie, and they see it, they can animate it as another Witherlight Zombie. Not as strong, they're only at half hit points for a day or so until they build up their strength. But you can have hordes of these things moving along unless you figure out some other way of destroying them besides, trusty old radiant damage. So that's the Witherlight Zombie. A little nasty. I think they're a challenge rating of 3. But it could quickly build up to a dangerous encounter if they animate more and more corpses and kill people and reanimate them. And, the Holy Warriors have a problem with them. But that's kind of connected to the lantern that I made up, the Light of Vitality. I thought it'd be a fun little addition. So shorter video tonight. That's all we got. Light spell, light creatures, light items. Lots of lights. So, with winter coming up in the Northern Hemisphere, it's good to have more sources of light. Well, if you are interested in more content like this, feel free to drop on by my grand list of content at amethyst-dragon.com. I've got over 800 different things on there. Spells, items, creatures, classes, or subclasses, races, just all sorts of things. So come on by, take a look. A lot of it's free, and that stuff is marked. The rest of it is for my patrons, but patronage is cheap, it's affordable, and definitely worth the money. But even if you don't become a patron, I'd like to thank you for stopping by. Go ahead, like, subscribe. But yeah, use some homebrew, drop in some nasty zombies or cute little toads. Anyway, my name is Nathan. This has been Homebrew Highlights. Let there be lights. Okay, take care. I'm going to go make some more homebrew.